So hence, according to zeroth law, there is a physical quantity which represents or which states whether or not a given system is in thermal equilibrium with another system, and that physical quantity is temperature. So zeroth law is actually explains us or defines us the concept of temperature. Alright, now thermodynamic state variables, the term variables have been using since the start of this chapter, is also called thermodynamic state variables. These are those physical quantities which represents the state of equilibrium of a thermodynamic system, like pressure, volume and temperature, right? And similarly, equation of a state is the equation which represents the relation between thermodynamic variables. For example, if I talk about an ideal gas, so ideal gas can be completely represented by an equation which you might have done in chemistry, that is PV is equal to nRT, right? Where this pressure, volume and temperature, N is number of moles of a gas and R is universal gas constant, right? So this is an equation which completely explains the concept of or the equation, the status or the changes in ideal gas, that is PV equal to nRT. Now I want to start with the thermodynamic processes, right? But before that, we are doing thermodynamic processes, but before that we will do a small term called quasi-static process. Quasi-static process is a process which takes place with a speed which is infinitely slow. That means quasi-static, the word means almost static, yeah, nearly static, right? So quasi-static means infinitely slow process. So whatever thermodynamic process we are going to study, they will be considered quasi-static process only unless and until it is stated otherwise. Alright. Now thermodynamic processes are what? The processes represents the change in a system. For example, the system is undergoing some change from stable to unstable thing, or from equilibrium to unstable state. So that state is represented by a process, and that is called thermodynamic process. The thermodynamic processes are of four types. First, it is called isothermal process. Then they are adiabatic process. Then we have isobaric process, and then we have isochoric process. So these processes are like that. Isothermal process is a process which takes place at constant temperature. Isobaric process is that process which takes place at constant pressure. Then isochoric process is that process which takes place at constant volume. Whereas adiabatic process is a process in which everything changes, but there is no exchange of heat from system to surrounding. So there is no exchange of heat. So all these processes have their own equations, and now we are going to elaborate in detail what are the equations of these processes and what will be the work done if we undergo such kind of process.